Hello and welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and today's video is 5 things to expect versus Brighton. 5 things to expect when Manchester United play Brighton in game week 3 in the Premier League and Manchester United's second Premier League game this season, and we didn't get off to the best start, so we've got to pick up 3 points versus Brighton. So my 5 things to expect series, if you're new, is kind of a match preview to the game where I talk about 5 things I expect to see when we take on Brighton, like predicted lineup, things I expect to see from Brighton, my predicted scoreline, things we should watch out for, strengths, weaknesses and more. So make sure you stay tuned for that. But if you want Manchester United to win versus Brighton, hit that like button and subscribe down below if you have not already, as it means a lot. Share this video with your friends and let's get into it. So first things first, I'm going to start with my predicted lineup. Now I've gone with our best front three in Mason, Marcus and Martial, Triple M. Hopefully Jadon Sancho will be added to that soon. With Bruno Fernandes in behind, and then I've gone with Pogba and Fred. Now, you know, I could maybe see Van der Beek playing, but he did play pretty much the full 90 versus Luton. I think he will play Pogba, even though Van der Beek did look better against Crystal Palace. I put Paul Pogba in there, and I've gone with Fred because I think that Fred has actually been our best CDM lately. Generally, like, I don't think McTominay's a CDM. I thought Fred was good versus Luton Town. I thought Fred was really good in Europa League. I've gone with Fred. Now, I want to see Fred play. Now, let me know who you want to see. McTominay, Matic or Fred. But I really want to see Fred. I actually think Fred's a little bit quicker on the ball than Matic. I think Matic is probably better at that position. But I think Fred, when you're playing a team like Brighton, that high energy, I think Fred would be better for the game. So I've gone with Fred, and then my back four is pretty much unchanged, but I've gone with Bailly instead of Lindelof. Now, I feel like Ollie could potentially pick Lindelof as it's more of a safe bet. But based off recent form, based off what the fuck was Lindelof doing versus Crystal Palace, let's be honest, based off Lindelof's worst ever performance in his life and Bailly playing pretty solid against Luton Town, it would be fair to give Bailly a shout. I'm really annoyed that Ted and Mengi did not play versus Luton Town though. Like, generally, I would have loved to see Ted and Mengi. But I think Bailly and Maguire will play, but I wouldn't be surprised if Lindelof played. I think De Gea will keep his place in goal, even though Henderson was good. I think Henderson needs to prove himself in a few more cup games. I think left back, Luke Shaw, right back, Aaron Wan-Bissaka. That is my predicted lineup. You know, let's see how many I get right. Let me know your predicted lineup in the comment section down below. Now, the second thing I expect to see when Manchester United go to Brighton is an improvement on the Crystal Palace game. And you're probably sitting there like, well, Alice, like, surely it can't get any worse. Like, surely you'd expect to see improvement. Well, you know, it could be worse in the Crystal Palace game, but it is very unlikely. But I want an improvement in a sense of, obviously, the result is the most important thing, but also a good performance. Not even like a result with bad performance. I want a result and a good performance, because versus Crystal Palace, yes, it was a bad result, but even furthermore, it was a bad performance. So I think we can only really improve from that. If we don't improve from that, it would be a joke. But, you know, Brighton, they're actually quite a tricky side. They play an interesting style of football, and Graham Potter is a manager that actually adapts the way he plays to the opposition. He doesn't always play the same way, so you never know what to expect from him. And they've got some great young players. Tarek Lamptey, one of the most interesting fullbacks coming through, right wing back, could cause Luke Shaw some problems. Brighton, they are a solid side. So I do expect an improvement on the Crystal Palace game, and I actually think Brighton, in a sense, are a more tricky opposition, although Crystal Palace, I'd say, are better organised. But I do expect an improvement on that, and I expect to see, because I thought Bruno was good in the Palace game, but I expect to see the players around him stepping up. Which links in with my third point, and that is a good game from Rashford now. He's gained confidence. Now, Rashford is a confidence player, a momentum player, and we saw how good Rashford was from the end of October up until his injury. He was world class, and then post-lockdown, he hasn't really lived up to it. He's had the odd good game here and now, but I think that goal versus Luton, I know it was only Luton, but that can give him a little bit of a confidence boost. He looked really good versus Luton. And I think the team will probably perform better versus Brighton. We've got our fitness levels up. We'll be a little bit more prepared, hopefully. Probably not, actually. We're not going to sign anyone probably for another week. But I do think that Marcus Rashford will look good in the Brighton game. Now, this could be Marcus Rashford's worst ever game in a Man United shirt. Who knows? But I do expect a good game from Marcus Rashford. Tarek Lamptey is an attacking fullback and does have pace. So, you know, could Rashford get him behind and catch him out on the counter-attack? Who knows? But I think Rashford's going to have some confidence. He looks a bit more refreshed. He looked really good in the 10 minutes versus Luton Town. So I expect a good game from Marcus Rashford. I think that goal is really going to give him a confidence boost, because I think over the last few months, Rashford has really been lacking confidence. The fourth thing I expect to see versus Brighton is the game to be harder than we think. Now it's really important we win because we've already dropped 3 points versus Crystal Palace, which is not good, and we cannot drop points in our first 2 Premier League games, considering after the Brighton game we've got like Arsenal and Tottenham. So we're just going to make it difficult on ourselves from the start of the season. And well, I think this Brighton game could be harder than we think, so we need to come prepared, we need to come focused. Brighton actually played really well against Chelsea. Brighton deserved a point out of that Chelsea game. They gave a Chelsea team that has spent hundreds of millions a run-in. They did. Brighton are a decent side. They're very inconsistent, you know, because they change the way they play against each team, so sometimes they can look really good, sometimes they can look really poor. But I think playing Brighton is going to be a bit of a challenge. It is going to be a difficult game, and it's going to be really important that we get the 3 points. I think it's going to be harder than we think. You know, they're going to have 3 physical centre-backs like Lewis Dunk, and Shane Duffy, all kind of on Martial. It's going to be really hard to get Martial in the game, but Martial's a runner. He can find those pockets of spaces. I actually think Van der Beek would be a good player for this game because he's very good at finding those pocket spaces, and I think with those 3 centre-backs that's going to be really important. So I think Van der Beek will come off the bench and make an impact, but it's going to be a difficult game. You know, they're a physical team, they're a quick team, Brighton, and I think it's going to be harder than we think, so we do need to watch out for that. I'm actually a little bit nervous about the game myself. I think especially considering we didn't win versus Crystal Palace, so a win is really important. I think we are lacking a bit of confidence. And the 5th thing I expect to see, which again kind of links into the 4th one, is Brighton to fancy it themselves. Now I think Brighton might fancy themselves in this game. They've seen what Crystal Palace can do. They saw Southampton last season, West Ham last season. They say, oh, if we press Manchester United, they make a lot of mistakes at the back. They play out quite narrow, so if we press them, you know, they can't get the ball out. You know, if they can't play out from the back, their attack is starved. Brighton might figure us out because nothing's really changed from last season because we've not really invested. So Brighton, you know, Graham Potter will adapt the way he plays to the opposition. They might fancy themselves. They might pressure us, high energy football. So that's what we need to watch out for. But I do think Brighton might fancy themselves and press us, and I do think we could be really lethal on the counter-attack. I think for me, the first goal was really important because if we get the first goal, there's that confidence, there's that buzz, and that means Brighton have to kind of change their game plan a little bit. We don't want to go behind first. I think that's really important that we get that first goal, and I do think Brighton might fancy themselves, so we need to watch out for that. But I'm going to go for a 2-0 win to Manchester United because I feel like, you know, we have the quality to beat Brighton and we should beat Brighton. Now let me know your score predictions in the comment section down below, and if you have not already, please hit that like button, subscribe down below, share this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Also, I don't mention this much, so I thought I'd just include this at the end of the video, but I have a second channel called The One with Alice, which is like a general football, more personal channel. So I did my fantasy game week draft on there. I reacted to like Big 6 games. I talked about football in general. I'm planning on uploading some more videos on that. So subscribe to The One with Alice. The link to that is in the description, or if you go over to the channel section of my page, it will come up. Also, I'm really close to 25k followers on TikTok. I've got Instagram, I've also got Twitter, so make sure to follow me on that. Social media links are in description. I never really tell any of you guys that, so I just thought I'd let you know. Social media and second channel is in the description.